Vortex. I just had a really, really negative encounter with a gas station attendant who had a little thingamajig in his ear. Don't you love these robot people? These cyborg sacks of shit. He was mad because I had a $20 bill. I think that this is going to become a growing problem in the future because you have these people that have voluntarily decided to not be people anymore, and they're so obsessed with their little trinkets and their gadgets or whatever the fuck that they don't understand people that aren't. Now I realize that I should have empathy for him because this is the way of the world, you know? And he's also probably homosexual. I'm not trying to make it about that, but I've noticed that anytime that I'm around people that are gay now, it used to not be this way. But it's been this way a lot recently. And I think it's also because I got saved, and so, you know, I usually have, you know, a cross. Sometimes I don't, though. I don't always wear them. But I just find it interesting, though, that, sorry, Vortex, I'm trying to find a good place for you on the dashboard. But yeah, so, yeah, I noticed that just recently, like, yeah, I've just gotten this really, like, terrible attitude from so many people that are obviously gay. It used to be obvious because of their mannerisms, and now it's obvious not only because of their mannerisms, but because of their attitude. So, but that makes sense though, because they're literally like being encouraged to be hateful and to interpret the sign of the cross as like a sign of unbridled animosity. So, now I realize that there are like plenty of people who identify as Christians that are like not very nice to gays, which doesn't make sense to me because like you're not supposed to, you know, be volatile towards anybody. If I seem volatile, that's because I don't say all the things that I want to say, so I say them on this channel. Whereas shitheads like the one I just encountered, they're allowed to be volatile to everybody when they're in a customer service position, okay? And they can flaunt their sexual degeneracy in front of everybody, okay? Now, I guess everyone's doing that, though. I mean, I know that because I'm a stand-up comedian, and I've done comedy with enough people that brag about cheating, or they brag about how many people they have sex with in a given week, or how much internet porn they watch. So don't think that I'm limiting this to homosexual behavior. And when you have the entire world, well, I shouldn't say entire world because that's not true. It only seems to be Western civilization that's falling apart. So when you have Western civilization in its entirety trying to convince people to be gay or to have sex with as many people as possible, or to watch endless amounts of internet porn for free on the internet all the time, everywhere you go. That's awesome. Aren't you glad you got your kids one of those phones that has constant access to that? Well, like, when that's the case, the world that we live in is going to be really shitty, which is why I go so hard on technology. If I seem like I'm really extreme, you're not extreme enough in the way that you think honey. I see the bigger picture of all these things. Most of these motherfuckers, especially people on the internet that have their little podcasts and their Patreon or whatever, it's like they make all this money on everything falling apart, or they make money off of women being miserable. Whether you're a feminist or you're an anti-feminist, it's the same thing. You're capitalizing on women's failure. So, as far as I'm concerned, both of y'all are pieces of shit that are profiting off of women being miserable. So, it's just so frustrating. Because I feel like I'm one of the few people in the world that like still has a conscience, that is going out of my way to like remain untainted, you know? Like what I said on stage last week is so true. And forgive me if I'm crying again. I can't help it. I do this all the time, okay? You're just gonna have to get used to it or leave my channel, okay? But I was thinking about how like I don't have a hymen anymore. And I didn't really think anything of that at the time when I gave it to my first boyfriend. But you know, it does make me sad though. Mainly because like if I wanted to get married, I don't want to get married. My husband would shoot me. But if I wanted to get married, like I don't have that as a gift. And so I guess maybe one of the things that makes me authentic and one of the things that makes me like, you know, less formidable than most cunts that you meet on a regular basis is that like I still have a flip phone and I don't want to like destroy that innocence that I have and like just turn myself into some fucking junkie. Like everybody has turned themselves into a junkie. And the smarter ones are like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they're like deleting their apps and they're going out of their way to like avoid this stuff. Whereas way more people are just like accepting that the society they live in is like cyborg central, and anybody that doesn't accept that, anybody that's like, wow, that's not a good place, that's not a world that I want to live in. I don't want to see like a 2-year-old staring at a tablet. I don't want to see that. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Those parents should be murdered. And I'm sure their kid would like egg it on too, because they don't have any attachment to their parents. They have an attachment to that thing that they stare at. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, that people don't understand the psychological aspects of the things that they do every day and how detrimental they are to our well-being. People are just getting more and more separated from God, and that just makes me so sad. And like when I see these people at a gas station or at a grocery store, and I get so angry, and I'm like, it's stupid to get angry because I feel like that's exactly what Satan wants, you know, for me to just like be hateful, you know, and so then I feel guilty about that. Because, like, I see all these people that have potential that they've thrown out the window. Also, they can be just as boring and lame and useless as everybody else. So it's not like, oh, I'm looking at God's people and going, oh, they're useless. No, I'm looking at people that chose the devil, that rendered themselves useless because they chose the devil. Okay? I don't care. Just call me religious nutjob. You're not wrong.